While almost every other car maker is pouring billions into going electric, Renault has just done something that sounds almost stubbornly old-fashioned. It has taken a 20-year-old idea, running a car on cheap LPG gas, and dropped it into a proper family SUV, the new Renault Symbioz. And in doing so, it has quietly made this the cheapest Symbioz you can actually buy. The promise is enormous, up to around 1,400 kilometers of range and fuel for about €1 a liter. But whether it truly beats a hybrid comes down to one number Renault does not put on the poster. And that is where this gets really interesting. First, the basics, because this matters. The Symbioz is Renault's comfortable, roomy family SUV, and this new Eco-G version runs on both petrol and LPG. That cleaner, much cheaper gas that costs roughly half of what petrol does. The engine makes a solid 120 horsepower sent through a 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, that headline range. With a petrol tank and a big 50-liter gas tank working together, Renault says you can cover up to 1,500 kilometers between fills, though the official spec sheets suggest around 1,400 is more realistic. Either way, that is enormous, easily enough for the longest family road trip without stopping. And when the gas eventually runs dry, it flips to petrol on its own, so range anxiety simply is not a thing here. But here is the catch, and it is the number the adverts leave out. When it is running on gas, this engine drinks noticeably more of it in real-world testing, around 20% more than it would use on petrol. So that magic €1 a liter does not quite translate into having your fuel bill because you are burning more liters to go the same distance. It is still meaningfully cheaper to run than petrol, and cheaper than the hybrid on long motorway trips. But it is not the free lunch a quick glance at the pump price suggests. You also lose your spare wheel to make room for the tank, and there is a small government eco-tax to factor in. So why does it still add up? Because the value here is genuinely striking. If you have enjoyed this kind of honest breakdown, a quick subscribe really does help us make more of them. Renault has actually deleted the old entry-level engine, which makes this LPG version the new cheapest way into a Symbioz, and it sits a full €4,500 below the full hybrid model. For a big, practical, well-equipped family SUV, that is a serious chunk of money to keep in your pocket. The obvious question is, why not just buy the cheaper Dacia that shares this exact engine? And the answer is simple. The Symbioz gives you a smarter, more grown-up cabin and a big step up in comfort and refinement. So, is this the cheapest family SUV to run that you can buy right now? For the high-mileage driver who fears expensive fuel more than anything, and who does the maths honestly, it lands a genuinely convincing punch. It is not the effortless hybrid, and it is not quite as cheap to run as the headlines claim, but as a smart, no-nonsense way to cover big distances for less, the Symbioz Eco-G quietly makes a lot of sense.